Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 26 of Sonic the Hedgehog IDW comic review. Now, as you know, after the events with the Zombot virus, the Deadly Six have taken over Eggman's operations and are now using the Zombot and the Chaos Emeralds as their own personal playthings, leaving Sonic and what's left to sort of take on the remains. And the cover has Sonic sort of drawing a plan on how to deal with the Deadly Six. And the story starts off with Eggman and Tails working on their sort of device to transport the sort of team to other places, with Eggman saying, "Eureka! We have a functioning multi-portal generator!" What, implode? That was a possibility? And so we see how Sonic comes to sort of come up with the plan, tries to sort of fight the virus. So we kind of see how Sonic arranges for what team member to go through. So Sonic arranges Tails and Amy to take on Zomome, Knuckles and SBO to take on Zaz, which Knuckles objects, as he's got to protect the Master Emeralds, and he knows that Eggman and Metal could try the same stunt before and betray them, with basically Eggman saying, "Are you implying I double-cross you all this critical juncture?" Yeah, I'm going with no, too. And we see how SBO is still going to go to honour his team's name. And we see how Whisper and Silver are tasked with taking on Zol. We see how Kamel is tasked with taking on Zina, as he knows she's way too full of herself, which will give Kamel a bit of an advantage. And also leaving Kiss to be taken down by Jet and his team. So of course the team mainly get ready, and Eggman plans to build a treadmill to keep Sonic's metal virus intact. So we see how Amy contacts Rouge to see how things are going. And we see how Knuckles is surprised everyone is saved is only a full handful. But mainly Knuckles reassures SBO that if the worst comes, he'll look after the survivors, and you can tell SBO feels bad that the other survivors down below are being used as personal playthings. We see how Sonic is on the treadmill, with Sonic saying, "You know, in a way, Eggman didn't get a chance to stay reformed. Sterling put him back on the path, but you just had to go back and to him, didn't you?" And you can tell he blames Metal for causing some of these events. But I think it's more like Sonic wanting to sort of redeem Metal was a bit of a fool's errand. And we see Eggman saying, "Oh, did you really think neutralizing Metal would make him less of a threat? Well, yeah, he had nothing left and fight for, and no way to fight." And we kind of see how Eggman basically tries to guilt trip Sonic, pointing out how the virus has probably contaminated other things, but you can tell Sonic still tries to play it cool, and that they are going to be enemies again once the truce is over. We see how Zavok is saying, "And there are no life signs at this hideout." And we kind of see how he tries to locate whatever planet and hideout he's on, and knows that he can't be on his castle in Lost Hex. So we kind of see how Orbot and Cubot trick him into believing Sonic's attacking the sort of the metal virus making machines, with Zavok saying, "If that's Sonic sabotaging my plans, I'll rip him in half." So we kind of see how Rouge is trying to bide her time and is working with Orbot and Cubot, and has them to sort of send word about Zavok and waiting the time to get his emeralds. So we see how Sonic Speed and that opens the portal, and them sending each member in We see how Cream decides to go in and help out as well. We see how Zinna's like, "Whoa, who's this brat?" "Miss Anna, my name is Cream, and you're being very mean. Give us the Chaos Emerald right now." "Us? You look very alone, little girl." And we see how Solomon is eating away. We see how Tails and Amy Mac try to trick him, with Somo saying, "No way! I've got Zombots bringing me food all over!" and decides to squish them. We see how Kaz is saying, "Man, this is lame! I can make these Zombots tear into each other all day, but it doesn't do any damage." I see how Espio tries to get his emerald, only to fall victim to the Zombots. We see how Silvernet tried to take on Zul, who gets prepared for him. We see how Kess leads his Zombot army, with Jet and the others taking him on, but manages to beat them down. And basically, Kess saying, "I retired from the battlefield long ago, but I suppose you children could do with a little lesson in discipline and humility." And we kind of see how Jet and his team try to get their boards back, to little to no avail. And we see how Jet tries to fly up, only to find out his teammates are being covered in Zombots. And this is the story. So I think issue 26 does this good endgame story for the Zombot virus. We see how each team member has to deal with a member of the Deadly Six, and pretty much have little to no experience, which does show some of them aren't really prepared to take them down. So I think this story deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.